What up, people? What up? It's me, L Teddy 27, and this is Angry Teacher Chronicles. This is my review. Greenleaf, Season 4, Episode 6. Alright, so we start off, ladies and gentlemen, with May and Grace. Grace is telling May all about AJ. And, for me, May took it way better than I anticipated. Like, May, I thought May was going to do what May does. When May goes off, this, that, and the third, so forth and so on. May takes it so much better than I thought. Anyway, Charity brings her trifling ass in there, snooping. Mind you, she worried about somebody else's child, but she ain't taking care of her own child. Be that as it may, they tell Charity what's going on, and May says, "Oh, you have to keep this within the family." So you know she ain't gonna keep this within the family. May and the bishop then we then see May and the bishop discussing AJ, and the bishop starts to reminisce about when Grace actually left, when she was pregnant with him. And he talks about how he wishes he had been there for her, and not, he and May really not condemned her. Because you can tell at the time, they condemned Grace about, everything. And he basically says, perhaps had I been there for her, none of this would be taking place right now. Then, of course, Charity does exactly what she thinks. She's so predictable. She goes and she tells Phil all about this. Phil's not sure if this will help them, because there's no hard, concrete evidence. But as Charity is leaving Phil's office, Jacob sees her and was like, "Are you in trouble with Jacob too?" Because Jacob knows he's in trouble with Phil, because the whole thing last episode with the basketball player and all of this being on TV, so he knows he's on the outs. So he's asking Charity if she's also in trouble with Phil. She was like, no. No. She lies and says that she is. She makes up a story about it being all about her calling the Judy chick, and saying that they're no longer going to sing that song. And he was like, well, didn't I just hear the choir practicing that song? She's not a good liar. She's so trifling. I mean, that Charity is just trifling. AJ then we see AJ calls Grace and tells her that he's been arrested. AJ wants her to lie for him. And we'll see how that plays out in just a few moments. Next, then, we see Phil with Jacob. Jacob basically is getting fired. Phil already didn't see it for Jacob. So Jacob is on the way out. Phil tells Jacob, listen, you got to go. Now, I wrote down this quote because it was, it stuck out to me. So Phil says to Jacob, not every son of a preacher is anointed. Some are just children. Now, he was making this statement about Phil, but to me, he was making it about Charity. He didn't know it was, but that statement more so applies to Charity. It applies to Jacob as well, but more so to Charity, okay? Then we see Grace at the police station. Grace is lying to the police about AJ's whereabouts. And AJ does what a child does when he wants their parents to lie for them. He puts on the eyes. He tells them the things that are going to make them feel, what's the word I'm looking for? He does what a child, he manipulates the situation where Grace kind of feels guilty, and Grace feels like, I have to do this for my child. I don't want my child to get in trouble, this, that, and the third. And so she lies for him. She lies to the police. And you could tell the police believe she's lying, but they don't have any evidence. So next we see Carissa with the guy who bought the land, and she's telling him this is not enough money, and my husband's been fired from both jobs, just that and the third. Oh yeah, sorry about that, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh, child. Anyway, he openly flirts with her and then ceremoniously writes her an additional check for extra money because she says this is not even half the money that we need for this house that we want. He writes her another check. I'm guessing it was enough. He flirts with her and invites her to dinner. She says, we'll see once this check clears. So then, Carissa goes over to Jacob's office and tells him, "Listen, we need to go out for dinner and celebrate because I got the house." And he's like, "Well, how did you get the house? I thought it wasn't enough money, just that and the third." Oh, I got them to give us more money than I thought. We have enough, this, that, and the third. Just a mess. Meanwhile, while this is going on, May calls and May tells Jacob, "Listen, I need you to come to the house. It's real important. This can't wait." And he was like, "What is it about?" He was like, "We need to meet your nephew or whatnot." Ooh, yo, I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus. This episode kind of was a little snore worthy, so that might be why my body is reacting the way it is. Anyway, Carissa doesn't want him to go. I mean, she was like, "No, I made plans, and you need to come with me. I'm your wife." Child, Jacob. He's a mama's boy. Jacob said, "No, I'm going." Carissa says to Jacob, "You need to man up." Now, she ain't lying about that. He damn sure need to man up. He couldn't be my husband, but that's a whole different story. Child, that's a whole different story. But after Jacob leaves and says that he's going to the house because he mans up, but he mans up the opposite way and tells her he's going whether or not she likes it. And so she calls the buyer for the house. After he leaves, she calls the buyer and tells him that the check's cleared and she will be joining him for dinner. AJ comes, Grace brings AJ to the house. AJ meets May. May is, being inviting and so forth. May then takes him to go meet Zora at Zora's little cabin or whatnot. Now, and Zora, May leaves AJ there with Zora. I took that as May wanting him out of the house so as not to steal anything from the house. But in my mind, I just knew that I just thought in my heart of hearts that and Zora were going to end up having sex. Call me whatever you want to call me, but I just felt like that was going to happen. Like, I just knew. I was like, oh, child, he finna bang his cousin. Zora, though, offers AJ some drugs. They took the drugs. We didn't see, but they took the drugs. But who knows? They could have took the drugs and they could have had sex real quick. They could have got in a quickie. Who knows? But I could not shake the feeling that I just felt like AJ was going to be banging out Zora. Especially with him being all light skinned and all. Zora has a thing for light skinned dudes. I mean, well, I can't say that she has a thing for light skinned dudes. She has a thing for dudes, period. If you got a twig and berries and you young, she got a thing for you. She's a whole ass whore. Kind of like her mama. Anyway, the police come to the house to do a follow up interrogation of uh, Grace because, like I told y'all, they ain't believe in Grace and her alibi that she has for AJ. Anyway, Bishop is there while the police are interrogating her, and then May comes after she comes back from the cabin. And so they basically kind of you could tell that they figure out that Grace lied to the police after the police left. So then we see Carissa with the buyer of the land, the guy who bought the land, and they're in, I don't know I think they're in his office, and they start making out. They might have had sex, who knows? But I know they started kissing and making out. We don't necessarily see or know if they have sex, but this is another case where you can infer that they got it down. Then we're back at the house. AJ comes in with Zora. May tells Zora, "Hey, boo, leave because we need to talk." So you got Bishop, May, Grace, and then May is confronting AJ, asking him, "Did he really do commit this robbery?" Um, AJ is kind of evasive with May. He does not come out with a clear and straight answer. May kind of picks up on that. You know how May is. May picks up on that. Charity rolls in being shady as ever. She brings in this balloon that says it's a boy. Um, Grace is like, really? She was like, well, I couldn't find a balloon that says it's a man that you've been hiding for 25 years. Just shady as ever. Um, May continues to press AJ about this. So much so, Jacob comes in. Jacob is introduced to him. And May is still not letting up. She's still pressing AJ. So much so to the point where AJ is just frustrated. AJ walks out. Never answers the question. Because even Bishop tries to sit down and reason with him and ask him, "Did you do it, son?" He never gives an answer. So he leaves and walks out and goes back to his apartment. Gray is all upset, distraught. She's crying. May is like, "Girl, it is what it is. You need to go and you need to admit to the police that you lied to them and admit that that your alibi is not clean." Charity overhears all of this, okay, which is the wrong answer. So then Carissa is back at the house. And Jacob are talking about how she wanted Jacob to be there with her to celebrate the house, and she's so disappointed that he once again chose his mother over her. And yeah, that was that. It really wasn't a lot, but she's in her head because she knows she's a whole ass whore and she's cheating on her husband. AJ then is at his house. Grace comes over. He's packed his bags and he is leaving town. Grace tries to bargain with him, tries to buy him off again by offering her car. Says, "Listen, take my car, da 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 da." He ain't having it. He gives her car keys back and leaves and like, "I don't need nothing from you." And he's out. All he needed from her is what she gave him, which was his alibi. He's out of town. He's going out of town. Charity then goes. Next thing we see Charity, she goes to go tell Phil all about Grace lying to the cops about it and about AJ's alibi. Phil says, "Well, we need evidence." Grace says, "I got your evidence, baby." She done recorded AJ and Grace's conversation at the house, all about Grace. Grace never fully admitted to lying. AJ never fully committed to saying that he did it. So I'm wondering how this is really evidence. Like that was my thinking in my head was neither one of them admitted. Grace never admitted to lying. Not Phil, damn it. AJ never admitted to committing the robbery. Only thing you probably have on that tape is May saying that Grace needed to go to the police and admit that she lied to them. But Grace never says that she lied. Then we see the bishop in bed and May in bed. They're discussing the events of the evening. And he tells her this story all about when she was young, this, that, and the third. And they're waxing nostalgic and all of that stuff. And she allows him to sleep in bed with her, because May had been making him sleep in another guest room or one of the rooms or whatever, but he ain't been sleeping with her. So she lets him sleep in bed with her, and, they cuddle and all of that stuff. So I guess that was sweet. Last thing we see in the episode is Jacob done packed his belongings out his office and is leaving Calvary. On his way out, he walks by Phil's office and overhears stuff in Phil's office. Baby, Phil and Charity are making out in Phil's office, and Jacob peeks in through the door and sees this. And that's where the episode is. It was a real lackluster episode in my estimation. I mean, I guess. But we'll see how this plays out next week. I'm just waiting for something to happen to Charity. And I'm going to ask this question again because I'm going to continue to ask the question. Where's Kevin? Can I get a Kevin sighting somewhere, please? Please, please, please. If you're going to write him off the show, at least have a storyline that you wrote him off with. But I want to know where's Kevin. So I'm going to continue to ask writers of Greenleaf, where is Kevin? Hello. That's all I got for y'all this week. We'll be back next week. All right. All right. That was Greenleaf, season 4, episode 6. We'll see you next week.